بالتأكيد.
Yes,
بالتأكيد. يس. يعني موقف أنا شفته في عيني، يعني من تركيا إلى اليونان، زورق يحمل المفروض 23 أو 20، ولكن حملوا 50 شخص. فعوائل
families.
يا بنات بعمرك وأصغر منك وأطفال وبيبي ورضع. نعم. يعني هاي الحادثة ما أقدر أنساها، يعني في كل ليلة تمر علي في منامي. منظر الأطفال يصرخون والنساء تبكي والبنات يبكون 6 ساعات ونحن في البحر.
6
بس
hours.
عطل
آه.
المطار عطل، ولكن قدرة إلهية أتوا قفر السواحل
Yeah.
ولله الحمد. ثم بدأنا نمشي.
Conflict and disasters forcibly displace millions of people across the world each year, putting their lives at risk and leaving them vulnerable to human rights abuses. Many of these are children, and many of them are on their own. Losing out on an education, being at higher risk of being human trafficked, these are just some of the issues that vulnerable unaccompanied minors are facing as they cross countries alone, trying to navigate through a legal system which they cannot comprehend and a language which they do not understand. Reaching their destination does not mean that they are safe, and there is still another issue facing unaccompanied minors: how to reunite them with their family. Asylum seekers with family members already under international protection or in the process of seeking asylum have the right to claim asylum in the same country as them.
For unaccompanied minors, the Convention on the Rights of the Child sets down the principle of the best interests of the child. So any decision relating to children has to be taken in their best interests. If that child has a close family relation or carer or support network existing in one European country, then under the Dublin system they would be exempt from the usual removal back to first country of entry rules and able to be reunited with that group of persons. Generally, under the European system, there's also a family reunification process which provides that persons who have close family members, i.e. spouses or civil partners or children who are resident in one European state, they have the right to join those family members in that state, provided certain conditions are met. Okay, so the way that family reunification works is that if you have someone in one European state, say you have a child resident there, their parents arrive to Europe via another state, that child should be able to lodge an application for family reunification and have their parents join them in the country in which they're in. This even extends further if the child has close family members outside of Europe itself. Perhaps in the Middle East or North Africa, they should be able to make a family reunification request to have their family join them in the state in which they're in.
Yet having this system in place does not mean that it is easy. The lengthy process leaves unaccompanied minors' lives still in danger. For those who don't have the right status, simply applying for family reunification puts them in danger.
When the call came for lawyers to assist mainly unaccompanied minors but also vulnerable adults in transferring from the jungle to the UK, I responded. So a functioning system was set up in Calais to process a small percentage of the children living on the camp. That was as a result of a case called ZAT, which was taken by Safe Passage lawyers in the UK in November 2015. which really required, what happened was the British state funded the French authorities to set up a process. Unfortunately, ZOT was overturned in the Court of Appeal in July 2016 and things started falling apart. As everybody knows, the jungle was closed at the end of October, and the process whereby probably about 1,500 minors were shipped to Kéomis, which are kind of children's centres all around France, was horrific. Lots of their take charge requests were lost. Lots of the kids who hadn't already filed their take charge requests, that's in accordance with Article 17 of the Dublin III Convention, lots of those children got kind of lost in the system. It's very confusing because there's an alternative scheme called Dubs, after Lord Dubs, which was a scheme promoted, and it's in, I think it's section 67 of the Immigration Act 2016, that the UK also has to take a number of unaccompanied minors who have not got close family relatives in the UK, but the number wasn't specified. Although the number bandied about was 3,000 in actual fact, really when the jungle closed, the UK took 350 children and then closed the list.
Only ever voluntary for governments, the DUB scheme was brought to a premature halt in February 2017.
The whole thing's a complete travesty. You must be joking. Human rights for unaccompanied minors in Europe, there aren't any. And many of those children in the camp on Calais were abused regularly, sexually, physically, and there's even more children, an even worse situation, I think, in Greece and probably Italy now, but I haven't been to either of those places.
So we first went over to the jungle about a year ago, just over a year ago, I think. We are a bunch of musicians. I run a music academy in London, and Meg is one of my tutors. We first went over with about 7 tutors, took 2 vans of stuff over, but we were primarily going over to teach music to the children in the school. We went over 5 times last year. This is the crazy thing, is like, these are really young children, young teenagers, 12, 13, 14, and they're making this perilous journey because our governments have not given them safe passages, safe routes to take. So the only route they can take is through smugglers, or through human traffickers, or through taking their lives into their own hands and clinging to the underside of a lorry. I think if you think about a 12-year-old that you know, it's terrifying, the thought of them camping by themselves, being you know, a chance of being picked up by predators, by sexual predators, by human traffickers. It's absolutely horrific what these kids are going through, and they're so young, and it's heartbreaking actually. When we were in the school, we were sort of working with a mixture of people who are both there with families or there by themselves, and generally when kids were there by themselves, it's because they were trying to reach extended family in the UK. I met one kid whose parents had been killed by a US airstrike, and his uncle was in the UK, and the people in his village told him to go to the UK and try and find his uncle, so he walked the whole way across Europe by himself. Young kid, maybe 11 or 12, and he was trying to reach his uncle. And it's just stories like that are utterly heartbreaking. You think if you had an 11 or 12-year-old, what would you want them to do? And you would want them to be looked after by governments and to be given a safe route through to reconnect with their families.
But release some empathy to the situation that they're in, and some kind of assurance that something will be done, which I think the majority of people that have been in those camps have not had by any means, and that is the reason why so many drastic things happen, and why a child will cling to the bottom of a van to get to Britain, to a country that hasn't even accepted 3,000 unaccompanied minors. That's how desperate they are to get to somewhere that doesn't even want them.
Yeah.
For the best interest of the child.